Good day. My name is Abdulkabir Akinlabi. What I would like to be discussing today is what I noted in the classroom about certain solving certain problems that software development is all about solving problems without if you are doing things and you are not actually using it to solve problems. So that is the problem the prospective developers used to have. Take for instance, at your level now, you will be believing that anything you have in your form, take for instance here, you remember these are our form: name, username, password, and the gender. Let's take for instance, after submitting this information, we still is still a software that allows them to pay. Please let us follow. Is this something that allows them to pay, to make certain payments? So we need to be very careful. You remember that we've done SQL, and we know that SQL is used to filter information. This is our database. Sign up. This is our database. You can see we have full name, username, password, gender. Let's follow full name, username, password, gender, and here also we have name, username, password, gender. So it doesn't mean that everything that is here must be here. There are certain parameters, because database is very important. That's the reason why I'm telling you that what's your existing knowledge to solve certain problems. Now what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to do a situation whereby you want anybody who is submitting to be having their payment status as not paid by default, so that when they get to their portal, which we are going to do later on, then they will now be seeing payment. So when they now pay, what will happen? If you have been following SQL statement, you suppose know what will happen when they now pay. Sorry, let me zoom the I've forgotten that some of you are using mobile. So when they now pay, it will now change it to paid. Now let us do that. You go to structure of this, the structure of this, then I want to add maybe probably two documents, so that we can learn new thing. This one is going to be payment status. Payment status, we can set it to be a varchar also. And time of registration, time registered. So if you want, that's another thing we need to learn, because my own form of training is that to tell you what is real, not actually how to do things, but to use it probably to be solving certain problems. In fact, this time of register, you can put it to all this date timestamp. What timestamp does is to give you the date, the time in minutes, in hours, seconds, and also in hours, minutes, and seconds. So now what is very important at this place is, we've not been using this default. This default means that the information that is going to enter the database without even coming from the form. Please, this is where I want you to get. This is the new knowledge we are adding to our existing one. So as later we are going to use as defined, we are going to use null, but this one I want to use as defined, not later. Later on we are going to use null as defined. So it now asks you for the definition. Now the definition here could be an SQL statement, it could be anything, a string. So at this time around, payment should be not paid. So that's as defined. Then default of this one, I want to put it as current timestamp. Sorry. So now what is important here is what you need to take note is this defaults, not paid, and current timestamp. Now let me save it. I used to tell some of you that contacted me towards these last 2 weeks that we've been starting all this thing, that error is part of this thing. So when you are using current timestamp, you don't use I think you don't there is no need of putting anything more than 6. So you don't, or you even delete everything there. So that is error. You have to be ready to face error. So you can see when we now check our table now, we are going to see by default this thing is going to be not paid. You can see not paid, not paid, and you can see the time because I we set the default. Now what is going to happen now? If I should go to my form, to my registration form, I want to Habiba Akinlabi, username Habiba, password. You remember that this password is supposed to set the distance to password so that people will not be seeing it. So that's, you can do that by yourself. So registration successful for that Habiba. So if this Habiba should check information, you can see. So that means that not paid. Now later on we are going to discuss how do we fetch that information from the database. There is no need, anything you are seeing here is from, you can fetch, you can put it from the form to database, and you can also fetch it from database. So let me tell you how this thing is now going to look when you fetch it. Let me look for one project that they need to pay. Let me sign in. Yes, now I'm signing. If you see this my interest is my interests are things that I like, that okay, I want to add it to my interest. So when I add it to my interest and it give me something like this, you can see this one is paid, this one is not paid, not paid. These are my interests. You can see this, the reason why I'm showing this, use this thing is to learn how to solve problems. So this one is saying not paid, while this one is saying paid. So now you see this not paid, I now inside my table, you've learned your learn table, but how to fetch this inside the database is different. You are going to learn that in the next module. When you click on pay now, it takes you to the payment gateway and you pay. When it is returning back to this page, what is going to happen is that it's going to update this SQL statement. What it's going to do is that let's take for Habiba, this Habiba. What is going to happen is let me write an SQL statement. What we are going to do is update table name, which is sign up, update sign up, set payment status equals to paid, where id or maybe where username equals to Habiba. So in this kind of scenario, anywhere username is Habiba is going to set it like that. So we can use any parameter, but most of the time what I use here is something known as session. That's this username that is brought here, because two people cannot have the same username. When they were submitting, I asked it that if the username exists, it should say that someone has used the username. So two people cannot use the username. So now what will happen is, let me run this one. Yes, I think so. You can see now by the time it's fetching out this one, it's going to be paid. You can see. So when you are now, maybe probably you don't want some people to have access to a particular page. So what you are going to first of all do is that you first of all select from username where payment status is equals to paid. So when the payment status is equals to paid, it's going to return only this one. So you now still tell the program that only those people that paid should be able to have access to this place. That is when we are doing php if statement. So if this thing is like this, then log the person in, else tell the person either your username or password is not correct or you have not paid. So the essence of today's this thing is to set defaults, how to set default parameters here. I know this one is not difficult, so you don't have any problem. So that means our next recording is going to be maybe in few hours or few days, because most of the time when after recording I have to attend to people virtually every day with errors. So an error is part of the training. So as I have said, so you can see this one is paid. So admin, you can still develop an admin portal that will be setting the this manually, that okay, this one is paid. If you want, if they are paying through bank, if they are paying through bank and you confirm their payment through your this thing, you can decide to set this one to paid. It's going to update it to paid. So that when the person will be able to log in, because by default your program is running that the person should not be able to log in. You have not written that code. I'm just telling you an example as a solution to that problem, because you knowing that kind of solution is also learning. So you just say okay, this person, all these ones they've not paid, only when this one selects from this thing where payment status is equals to paid, so it's going to return only two values. Let me do it. So that is select start from sign up where payment status equals to paid. I want to check if I'm not wrong. So these are the only two people that will be able to log in. You can see with their username and password, because they have paid. So that is how to solve that. Imagine you want to have several people that are logging in. So that is the reason, that is the essence of using this default settings. You can set many things to there is a property project that I'm doing. That property project will let you to, I think it's Darussalam. You can see that when people submit properties, there is actually property status. You can see by default it is what, hidden, so that it is only me that can push, it is only the admin that can push the property to the front. The likes of Nairaland, if some of you have been to Nairaland before, you see that certain things, you see front page. So that's when you push it to the front. So it's only those ones that are in the front that are going to show. So that is this. You can try and do this one so that you get back to me and know the next, so that I will see the percentage of reactions, then we move on. Thank you very much.